Hey, let's catch up some Spurs news and notes and Stephon Castle in the spotlight.
You are Locked On Spurs, your daily San Antonio Spurs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hey, welcome back to Locked On Spurs, right on the Locked On NBA Network. I'm your host, Jeff Garcia, Spurs writer for Ken's 5 San Antonio. Glad to have you back. Hey, today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. You want to go to FanDuel.com/LockedOn right now. FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone every day, all summer long. FanDuel.com/LockedOn to get started. What are we talking about today? Well, we're going to be catching you up with some Spurs news and notes that you may have missed. And then bring in our guest, Locked On UConn's host, Mark Zanetto. He's going to be putting into spotlight Stephon Castle. You know, just what kind of player is he? What is his upside? What about the whole knock on his shooting? He's going to dispel all that and more, and why he believes and why I believe the Spurs got themselves a darn good point guard of the future. We'll be discussing that and more. Hey, before we continue on, though, let's catch up with some Spurs news and notes that you may have missed. And for those of y'all who are in San Antonio, you want to take a drive out to Town 101. Yeah, Google it right now. Go there right now. If you need another picture of a Spurs mural of Wemby, there's a new one right now. It features him. I believe he's in his black uniform, and it's like a space theme. It has literally a big spaceship coming across with the exhaust of the Spurs, the Fiesta colors, just streaking across this outer space. The galaxy. It's pretty cool. I was there just a couple days ago. I went to take some pictures of it. And let me tell you, it's really, really awesome. So let me go ahead and show you what it looks like. And again, you're in San Antonio, go there right now. Check it out yourself. There it is. Pretty cool, huh? Look at that Wemby looking all fierce and everything. Get that UFO I was telling you about. Fiesta color streaking across the sky, or in this case, space. So again, it's out there at Southtown 101. You want to go there ASAP. Get yourself a selfie with that. Look, the Spurs murals are dotted all across San Antonio from the south side, north side, downtown. I mean, pick an area in town you're likely to run into a Spurs mural. But check out this new one. Again, if you want to read more about it, go to kens5.com/Spurs right now. In other Spurs news, hey, Locked On's very own local promoter, yes, our favorite Muslinger's Drive-Thru Coffee, put out a new drink, this time in honor of Stephon Castle. It's called Le Chateau. Now, I get he's not French, but Muslinger's is trying to make a connection with him and Wemby, pairing together. But they did not forget about Castle's Georgia roots. A lot of peach flavors in there. It's available right now, and I believe it's like $5 this entire week. So you want to go to Muslinger's right now, 2404 Thousand Oaks Drive. Go there right now. Let me see if I can get a picture of this for you guys here so you can check it out. Already some people have gone out there and they said it tastes very, very good. Here's what it looks like. There it is. You can see there, cookie butter. You got vanilla. You got the peach there. It's available right now. Again, go to Muslinger's Drive-Thru Coffee. Get yourself that cup. Basically, it's just a very delicious drink in honor of Stephon Castle. Hey, speaking of Castle, I had a chance to talk with him during his introduction press conference in San Antonio. Did a quick Q&A with him, like one question Q&A, and asked him like, hey, the Spurs have been following your career since high school. What does that make you feel like? He said he had no idea that the Spurs were scouting him since high school. He said at that time, he's just focusing on high school games, but that he appreciated it, and he's going to look to most of the quick Q&A. I also got a chance to talk with Harrison Ingram. So apparently I found out that his love of chess came from his father, that his father taught him, and that he has been to San Antonio before. He told me that, obviously, growing up in Dallas, Texas, his family would drive to San Antonio, go to Six Flags. So, by the way, everybody, he's not a Mavericks fan. He's already scoring points in San Antonio with those answers. And finally, in Spurs news, the Spurs have released their 2024 Summer League squad roster. Yep, this is the team that'll be playing in California for the California Classic, and then, of course, in Las Vegas for the Las Vegas Summer League. They kept things going July 13th versus the Blazers. Again, that's in Las Vegas. Though obviously Castle will be playing, Ingram will be playing, City Sissoko will be playing, David Duke Jr., an Austin Spurs guy, will be there. Raquan Gray, who's been a guest here on Lock, he'll be playing for the Spurs Summer League. So yeah, and look, the head coach will be Kenny Trevino. Other notable names on the roster, Jameer Nelson Jr. Now, you're old enough to remember that name, Jameer Nelson, then welcome to the club. Former Magic guard, basically a former NBA guard. His son is going to be on the Spurs summer squad. Yeah, so again, they'll get things going in Vegas July 13th versus the Blazers. I believe in the California Classic, it's going to be like a one-stop, like 3 games, then they go to Los. But yeah, it'll be great. And by the way, the first game for the California Classic will be on July 6th. So if you want to check out all that and more, you want to go to KensFi.com, see who else is on the roster. Just a quick note though, rookie Juan Nunez is not playing for the Summer League team. Why? He's getting ready for the Olympics, Team Spain. So for all y'all think like, oh, there's something wrong. No, he has prior commitments. His country's team going out to play in Paris for the Summer Games. All right, there you go. Some quick Spurs news and notes. When we get back, we're going to be joined by Locked On UConn's host, Mark Zanetto. We're going to put Stephon Castle in the spotlight. What did Mark see from Stephon Castle when he was playing with UConn? What about that whole shooting knock that he has coming into the league? What about him? Is he a point guard? Is he a guard? We're going to find that out with Mark. That's coming up next right here on Locked On Spurs. Hey, I want to talk about FanDuel. You want to download the app, go to FanDuel.com right now, get yourself an account. Look, you love sports. I love sports. We never want them to stop. NBA playoffs are over, but MLB is in the season right now. If you still want to enjoy sports, all you got to do is open that FanDuel app and dream up bets anytime you're in the mood. And this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone. Every day, all summer long. You want to go to FanDuel.com/lockdown right now. Start making the most out of your summer. Look, it's easy to use, very intuitive. You can make your pick in 1, 2, 3 pretty fast. Download it on your favorite mobile device or go to the website right now, FanDuel.com/lockdown. Create an account. Simple, easy to do. Money line, spreads, all that good stuff. It's there for you to enjoy at FanDuel. Again, head on over to FanDuel.com/lockdown to start making the most out of your summer. FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of Major League. Hey, I also want to talk to you about Mudslingers Drive-Thru Coffee. If you're in San Antonio, go there right now. 2404 Thousand Oaks Drive, open every single day from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. They got all drinks you can think of. You got the Alien, which is part of their Lightning Bolt, few seconds. They have their signature drink, the Mudslinger. What's they got? Oh, yeah, they got caffeinated drinks, non-caffeinated, lattes, basic coffees. I mean, pick something there you're going to enjoy, including mini donuts. Great menu, great staff, friendly staff as well. And they're a proud local sponsor of Locked, proud community member of San Antonio, serving San Antonio the best drinks in the city. 2404 Thousand Oaks Drive, open every single day from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Hey, quick note, the Lightning Bolt series, very delicious, by the way. But just a heads up, they're going to be using Lotus Energy 7 power plant extracts. Gives them more flexibility to create new drinks. Basically, they just supercharge your day. They get you going or keep you going. The Lightning Bolt series even includes the Alien, which is made in honor of Victor. But by the way, if you want Red Bull, they can add that to you. But just a heads up, though, they're going to be using Lotus Extra for you. And as mentioned a little while ago, they also have a new drink called Le Chateau. It's in honor of Stephon Castle's pairing with Victor Wembanyama. It's available right now, but it was $5 a week. Go there on that nice drink right now and help welcome San Antonio. Go to Mudslingers Drive-Thru Coffee, open every single day from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. 2404 Thousand Oaks Drive. Follow them on social media at Mudslinger SATX. Go there right now because life is too short for bland coffee.
A Jedi uses the Force. To subscribe to Locked On Spurs, pass on what you have learned.
And they are now joined by my Locked On brother. He is Mark Zanetto. Make sure to follow his show at Locked On UConn right now. And I guess you can also follow him if you want on his personal one, right? Right, Mark? That's cool too, right?
Yep. You can follow me at Mark Zanetto CBB. So college basketball there. But Locked On UConn is another page I run as well, for sure.
All right, so why is Mark here? Well, he's joining us today. He's going to give us all the inside scoop on the newest member of the Spurs. You know him, Stephon Castle. By the way, Mark, did you know there is now an official San Antonio coffee drink named after him in San Antonio?
I didn't know that. That's awesome, man. What's the drink? What do they add, like espresso shots or? Well,
I'm glad you brought that up. Okay, let me see if you can figure this out. Okay, it's called Le Chateau. Mm-hmm. Well, now, why would it be given a French name?
Because he's a castle. Like, I mean, that's probably part of it, right?
Good thing. Yeah. Well, the coffee company in San Antonio did it because he's pairing up with Wemby now. But they did not forget about his roots. They added some Georgia peach flavoring. So they added a bunch of that stuff. So I don't know. Those the little things you maybe want to share with your Locked On UConn fans there. You know, there's now an official coffee drink in San Antonio named after Castle, brought to you by Mudslingers, who's a great sponsor of Locked On Spurs.
Awesome.
But Mark, first of all, thank you for your time joining in. A lot of Spurs fans are still abuzz about the draft. Number 4, Castle, Spurs. It was kind of like almost kind of obvious. A lot of the mock drafts were projecting him to land in San Antonio. It came to fruition. When you saw his name come off the board, he's now going to wear the silver and black jersey. What were your first thoughts?
I was ecstatic for him. Not if anyone doesn't know this about, or anyone doesn't know this about UConn fans, we've had a history of getting guys drafted early in the lottery, but they seem to be going to not the best franchises that have the track record, the Hornets, the Bobcats, the Wizards. So when some of those names were coming up, there was a funny thing that went on Twitter. It was essentially Steph Castle is marked safe from the Charlotte Hornets. So we were very happy that he's going to a franchise that, is pretty well known for its culture, its standard of winning. Also going from a Dan Hurley style, which is very demanding, to then now Coach Pop. We were let's just say the fan base is ecstatic for him and looking forward to. By the way, the Final Four is in San Antonio next year, so you probably have a lot of UConn fans, barring they make it, coming in wearing their Steph Castle San Antonio jerseys. So just to give you that heads up as well.
Yeah, he'll be wearing number 5 for everybody who does not know once he puts on that Spurs uniform. Or he already did, by the way. He already showed off his hops to the Spurs fan base here, and even took part in a kids clinic in San Antonio already. So he has embedded himself already into the community. Now, heading into the draft, obviously the Spurs are in a rebuild. I think the whole world knows that. They're years from even maybe sniffing a 1 through 6 spot in playoff in the NBA. In the West. But part of the rebuild is, what is this kid going to bring? What is he going to do? Now, during the press conference, his introduction press conference, he said a couple of things I want to bring to your attention. First of all, adapting to Wemby. He said that it shouldn't be a problem because he played with Klingon. But no, Klingon's a great player. We'll see what he does in the pro level. But in just one season, Wemby's already showing this sky is the limit, and maybe space is the limit because of the whole alien thing. But how do you foresee him adapting to Wemby? Because I don't know if you know this, Mark, but it took the Spurs nearly 2/3 of a season to finally get what it's like to play with Wemby.
Yeah, no, I think his game, Steph's game, is pretty expansive. So playing with a kid like Victor is definitely going to enhance some of what he already does a lot of, which is finding opportunities for his teammates. And I think the fact that Victor has the ability to space the floor and can shoot from the 3-point range all the way to obviously being a rim runner, it kind of only gives the Spurs offense and Greg Popovich a lot of different opportunities to run sets with them together. And also, he mentioned Klingon, but I think it's also because Klingon had that ability being in UConn's offense where he wasn't just planted under the basket a la like a Zach Edey, just because he's 7'2" plus. He spent a lot of time away from the basket, kind of creating that UConn offense, which was very NBA-like. So you're getting a kid that's pro-ready, but also ran a pretty intricate offense, either on the ball or off the ball. So I think it'll be an easier transition. Yeah. But like anything, I think it'll be about how he reads and processes the game at the NBA level, which I think he'll have no issue with. But having the ability to kind of kick it out to Wemby, but also throw him lobs or good passes where it puts him in an advantageous position to score easy buckets is what Spurs fans could look forward to.
Yeah, I mean, he pretty much made it clear during the intro press conference. He goes, "Yeah, it's not a problem. I see a big guy over there. I got to give it to him." Pretty simple.
Sure.
Another thing he brought up during his intro conference was that he had no idea that the Spurs were scouting him since high school. Okay, granted, high school, then 1 year in college, and here we go. But nevertheless, when you hear stuff like that, and your UConn fans hear stuff like that, the freaking Spurs were following his career since high school till now, and he was their guy. What does that reflect to him? In your opinion, how do you think, since you obviously saw him closer than I did, how do you think that's going to impact his game moving forward?
Yeah, I think not a lot bothers Stephon Castle. I think what you guys will find is what you see is what you get. He's got an incredible family that has supported him in his journey from high school now to 1 year at UConn, national championship, now top 5 pick. He's a very kind of stoic guy. Like he's very chill. And so he's a no drama player. Like, so I think that's also part of it too. What maybe come across as aloof is actually just his personality. Like he is he's all about winning, all about business. And so I think the fact that he didn't know that they were scouting him since high school is pretty, par for the course for Stephon. And Steph is just a good kid, man. He's definitely down to do anything that the team wants to be a winning ball player. So I think that checks out. That's pretty on par for him.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up the whole stoic thing because Spurs general manager Brian Wright brought up he does appreciate Castle's stoic demeanor on the court. As a matter of fact, I had a chance to talk to Brian Wright, and he told me that he appreciates Castle's, I guess for lack of a better, being a good cheerleader on the court when he's not even involved in winning plays. He said that's what really stood out to him when they were scouting him as far as the character, what type of teammate he's going to be. I think Brian Wright told me, he goes, so there could be a great play and somebody's on a, scoring run and he had nothing to do with it. But there he is, just hooting, hollering, jumping up and down and everything. So how do you factor him? What do you see him as far as being a teammate in San Antonio?
It's a great question. And I have a story for you right off the bat. So it was early in the season. I don't remember the exact game, but it was for, if Spurs fans aren't huge college basketball fans, a lot of big time programs play what they call buy games. So there's usually like mid-major programs who are getting money to go play at UConn. So it's not exactly a challenging game, but it's a game to kind of almost like a preseason game, if you will, right? And so there was a part where he drove to the basket, got an and one, and fell to the floor. And one of the opposing players, and I think this is pretty indicative of what this kid is about from a mentality perspective, got followed by the kid, went to pick him up, and he literally slapped the kid's hand away and said, "Don't touch me."
Nice.
And waited for all of his teammates to come and pick him up, because this kid if you're with him, he is going to war with you. And if you're against him, he doesn't want anything to do with you. And that is the quintessential UConn mentality. And I think that translates to San Antonio 100%. This is not a kid that, if he gets to that level, hopefully in the pros where he's at that superstar level, who he's going to be like, I'm just going to go join, 4 or 5 other superstars. This kid wants a challenge. He wants to be a part of Spurs Nation. And I'm super excited for you guys because this kid is legit and he's a warrior.
All right, let's go ahead and get to the elephant in the room, and that is his shooting. That was kind of a concern. Well, one of the major concerns with his game entering into the NBA. During the NBA draft media session the night before the official draft, he talked about it, said there's nothing to worry about. He said it's not like it has to be broken down and it's to restructure it again. He said maybe some fine tuning. Can you help Spurs fans calm their nerves about this? That is one of the biggest issues right now with Spurs fans. They like his upside. We'll get to that in a while. They like that the Spurs got us seemingly a legit point guard now for the future. But talk about his shot. Why shouldn't Spurs fans be worried about this?
I mean, I'll give you a good example. It's like at the beginning of the year, I 100%, because if there was one thing that I did well on a basketball court is I could shoot the basketball. So it sometimes bothers me when I see elite athletes that can't shoot free throws. And at the beginning of the year, he struggled with that. And he had a knee surgery earlier in the year to clean some stuff up. So he was working his way back into shape, and maybe that had something to do with it, bending and shooting and all that stuff that goes with it, the mechanics. But the idea that he pumped his free throw numbers were whenever he got fouled, I had no question in my mind he was going to make big free throws down the stretch. They didn't ask him to shoot a lot of threes, but when he was open, he made them. Like, I mean, if you look at the Final Four games in particular, like things that meant something, not the beginning of the year when he's facing against inferior opponents. He made big shot after big shot. Alabama is a great example. Alabama was a huge analytics team going into the Final Four, and he was a 27% three-point shooter at that point. They literally didn't guard him. They put their center on him at the beginning of the year and basically just said, hey, we're just going to let you shoot. He made his first 3 out of 4, and then they were like, okay, well, I guess we have to figure out, like, this kid is a good shooter. He's got great form. I think we don't have to worry about it. I made a draft decision. I actually picked the Spurs picking him at 4, so I was happy to be right about that. But I did say the one downfall is he's like a pitcher that throws 100 miles an hour, but didn't trust his stuff, and all he needs is the green light and confidence to just keep shooting. That's what Dan Hurley used to say to him. He'd look at him and just go, "Keep shooting, man. You're fine." He's going to be fine. He's got great form. You guys have nothing to worry about.
Yeah, and look, the Spurs have worked wonders, reforming shots. I mean, look at Jeremy Sohan. They told him go to the one-handed free throw shot, and it worked. And Sohan has adapted it now, and he has no problem with it, and he runs with it, and he connects on his free throws. So, yeah, you see the Spurs helping players in that development realm, even with so small of a thing as Sohan shoot free throws. I mean, hopefully, it doesn't take too much for the Spurs to work with Castle. But he did show off his three-point range when he put on that uniform during the introduction press conference. They let him kind of have the half court. And there's a video that I posted on my Twitter handle, or X handle, I should say, at Jeff G Spurs Zone, where he's knocking down, I'm going to guess it was about 6, 7, maybe about 5 or 6 3 shots in a row. All net.
Listen, you guys have, I understand being worried about it because people look at percentages. They don't actually watch the form or, a few games here or there. But this kid is a legit shooter. I wouldn't consider him a pure shooter, like a Steph Curry or something like that. But for the type of player that he's going to be, you're not going to have to worry about his shot going forward.
No, I hope not. Yeah, and the thing too is that, look, let's be honest, it's all about Wemby in San Antonio, and they need spacing. They need shooters. That's one of the biggest things they need to address in the rebuild is spacing. So, as much as Castle is a facilitator, plays downhill, gets to the lane, gets to the rim, all the good stuff, Spurs fans would like to see a lot more perimeter shot. Hopefully, Castle can do that moving forward because, hey, at least he knew where his bread and butter is going to be cooked. Just Wemby. Wemby's going to create a lot of space for everybody. It doesn't matter. You're going to double, triple teams almost nightly. So that's where the spacing comes in. And hopefully Castle can fulfill that need for the Spurs. He is Mark Zanetto. Make sure to follow him on X at Locked On UConn and his personal X handle as well. What's that, Mark?
At Mark Zanetto CBB.
Make sure to do that right now. If you need to pick his brain about the newest member of the Spurs, Stephon Castle, he is the guy to go to. Hey, when we get back, we're not done with Mark. We're going to continue talking about Mr. Castle. What's his upside? Where does this project long term? Is he the Spurs point guard of the rebuild? We're going to be talking that and more coming up in just a few seconds. And we're joined by my guy, my go-to guy now. You're going to be my go-to guy for all Castle now. I got to have a go-to guy now. Yeah, he is Mark Zanetto, my Locked On podcast brother. Make sure to follow him on X at Locked On UConn as well. Make sure you pump those numbers up right now. Up there. Get those follows up there for Mark. So, Mark, as we all know, Spurs are in a rebuild moving forward. Yay. They got themselves their franchise player. Big check mark. Okay, but the process is not done yet. They still need to address the point guard. We'll talk about Castle in a bit. And many other pieces. But with Castle now in San Antonio, there's been somewhat of a debate between Spurs fans. Is he going to be a starting point guard? Is he just going to be that off guard? Chris Paul is now a Spur.
Yeah.
He might be the starting guard. How do you see that? Do you think it'd be better off for Castle to get the start or come off the bench? How do you think it would be the best approach for Castle?
You know what? That's going to be something that the coaches have to really kind of monitor. And I don't mean to sidestep that. I just, completely fair, like this kid wants to compete. So if it means spending a year being Chris Paul's understudy to kind of learn how to win.
Oh no, not that.
Yeah, I mean that's perfectly fine. Like I saw that they signed CP3 over the yesterday or whatever it was.
Yeah,
I was actually pretty happy because I think Steph can learn a lot from him. Maybe not the under the table blows to the midsection. Maybe we can tell Chris to stop doing that. But outside of that, I think Chris Paul is a Hall of Fame point guard, and really can show Steph a thing or two in that regard. I don't think Steph is going to care. Like I told you, he's a no drama player. So if Pop says, listen, you're coming off the bench and, to start because you're going to jumpstart our second team and we're going to be dominant because of that, make a playoff run. He's going to take to that. This kid is not the type that's going to make waves. So I'm good either way with him. I think that is not something you guys have to worry about, but I'm curious though, if they play together a little bit, just because Steph, like we talked about, Steph is going to be a capable 3-point shooter. So if you put CP3 and Victor in a pick and roll situation and you're spreading Steph out to be kind of more of a shooter, he's going to make the right decision. If he's open, he shoots it. If they hedge out on him too quickly, he can he can attack the basket, kick out to whomever that's open. He's going to work in the framework of the offense.
Yeah. Just overall question: is he a point guard or is he just a guard? Yeah,
I think he's a point guard. And he's a point guard because I look at point guards today as the ability to facilitate and score. He can do both, right? So if in my breakdown of him for Locked On for their draft coverage, it was he sacrificed his scoring in college because he played a role on a national championship team. Mm-hmm. If you put Steph Castle on Memphis or I'll use someone that's close to San Antonio, like if at Texas Tech or at University of Texas, and he was a featured point guard in their offense, and he got 40 minutes a game. He's averaging 20 points, 8 assists, probably 7 or 8 rebounds a game. You may not even have gotten him because he would have been the number 1 pick in the draft. Is what I'm trying to say to you is that because he played on a team that has a role where he was only averaging 12 or 13 points a game, 4 or 5 rebounds, et cetera, because of his minutes, because he was not doing everything that he could have done. That's what the Spurs liked about him, is that the fact that he's untapped potential. He has the ability to do more. And I think as a point guard, he's going to show you that. I think he's got major Drew Holiday vibes right now, but I also have an even bigger upside for him that when you get to that question, I can share it and hopefully get your Spurs fans very excited.
I hope so too. What I like about Castle is, coming to San Antonio is, okay, we now know CP3's here, but you got CP3, you got Trey Jones, now still a young guy, but technically a veteran of the NBA now, going on another season for him. So what I foresee, Mark, is something similar to what happened with Tony Parker. Tony Parker came off the bench, started his rookie season. Ultimately, Pop gave the keys to the car to Tony, and away we went. And Tony at that time had a veteran behind him. It was Speedy Claxton, Antonio Daniels. You had got likes of Avery Johnson behind him that kind of were showing him the way, a little bit, to start his career. And then, history happens and, hey, we're off to winning titles. Now, I'm not saying the Spurs are going in that direction yet, but I can definitely see that where maybe a CP3, a Trey Jones is playing ahead of him and Castle's coming off the bench. And then eventually gets to the point where, okay, how you feeling? You feel good? Okay, CP3, you played off the bench last year with the Warriors. You're coming back. Or Trey Jones, you're obviously well better suited coming off the bench. You're coming back. Castle, here are the keys to the car. What do you think about that?
I think it'll be interesting. I think you have to remember CP3 is very injury prone. I hate to say that, right? I hope he doesn't hurt himself with you guys, but chances are as you get older, as I know I'm getting older, I see the gray in my beard as I'm looking at you. Injuries happen at a higher rate for players that are going into, I don't know, what's his almost 17th, 18th season, something like that. So there's a really good chance that Steph Castle is your starting point guard. Trey is coming off the bench and CP3 is getting spot minutes because just based off of father time, this isn't CP3 from 2008. So I wouldn't be too concerned about that and how that rotation is going to work. I think CP3 is there for almost like insurance because they're probably figuring if he plays half a season, they're getting, that's what they kind of paid him for. Like $11 million in the NBA today is not a lot. And so, which is nice work if you can get it right. I think that's what you're seeing is CP3 is going to be more of a part-time player.
Yeah, I look what he said. We were kind of making fun of it earlier, but oh no, not CP3 there for Steph Castle, not that, or even Trey Jones to a degree. He's been thrusted into a starting point guard role in his career, from time to time, so he can lean on that as well.
Absolutely.
Now the big question here, and I prepared you for it, everybody. Yes, I told Mark the question I was going to ask him to close out the show. Spurs are in a rebuild. Is he the point guard for this rebuild fully, for the entire extent?
Yes. And I say this, if you guys don't know anything about UConn fans, we are very pessimistic and we are we're very guarded with our, not a lot impresses us because this is, if you see the banners behind me, 6 championships in 30 years since 1999. This team is used to excellence and used to winning. When Steph Castle first put on the jersey, I think people were concerned for all the reasons that you mentioned earlier, whether it was shooting, he was hurt initially, and then as soon as he got healthy, it was like, okay, like this team is. I don't see anybody beating this team because this kid's at the helm. And we also had guys drafted. Klingon was just after him. You had 2 guards get drafted also in this draft with him. If there was no Cam Spencer, Steph's numbers would have jumped up. If Tristan Newton had left last year, again, Steph is leading the pack, so to speak, right off the bat. I said this kid has Drew Holiday vibes coming into your team right now. Elite defense, capable shooter that's only going to get better. Team guy, can drive to the basket, but is likely going to show a great change of pace, can give you everything that you need from an offensive perspective and defensive perspective. But his biggest ceiling, in my opinion, because of his frame, because of the way he goes to the basket, almost like he glides, he takes his time, and then all of a sudden he's at the hoop. It's the change of pace of a veteran. And this is a name that was in the MVP conversation this year, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. That is my ultimate ceiling comp for him. I think he can get to that point because the kid's a worker and he's under the right tutelage. Popovich has coached Hall of Famer after Hall of Famer. Maybe you're looking at a Manu Ginobili type because of the same size, the ability, and if he improves that shooting. If this kid is a 40% three-point shooter, you have an MVP type quality a Robin to your Batman when it comes to Victor Wembanyama. So I think the ceiling is very high for Steph Castle, and this kid is going to work until he gets to that point.
Yeah, I thought the highest ceiling for him to reach was a guy named Mark Zanetto. I thought that was going to be the ceiling. Yeah. I was like, what? He's not going to reach Mark Zanetto levels? What?
Yeah.
Just kidding. But no, I'm excited for the future with Castle in San Antonio. Obviously, we don't know how players pan out in the NBA. We just don't know until they finally get that experience under their belt. But what we've seen and hearing so far, whether it be college film or what he said, once he became a Spur, it looks like he's going to be a perfect fit for the Spurs, for Wemby, for the rebuild moving forward. The size, the mentality, the stoic approach in a good way, not in a just very even keeled on the court. Cheering for his teammates, can put up some points. More importantly, in my opinion, I think he plays that lockdown defense because, Mark, pick a team last year, Atlanta, guess what? A player on that roster had their career night hitting threes against the Spurs. Okay, let's go to OKC. Same thing. Pick a player, they had a career night versus the Spurs hitting threes. It was pretty much like that. The perimeter defense was very porous, and I think that's exactly what helps the Spurs adding Castle to the roster. We'll see how he pans out, but if there is anything more, Spurs fans, don't be surprised if we tap Mark Schroeder again to bring him back here at Locked On Spurs. Hey, Mark, you need to brag about Locked On UConn. Why should Spurs fans go there right now, hit that subscribe button and all that good stuff?
Sure. No, I appreciate that. Yeah, definitely check out Locked On UConn, hit that subscribe button. If you listen to a podcast audio-wise, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts, definitely hit that follow so you never miss an episode. We're about to break it into 2 shows. So if you're a fan of men's and women's basketball, we're going to do, once the season starts, we're going to do a women's show in the morning, a men's show in the afternoon. and so you're going to get 2 for the price of 1. Not only just that. Plus, this is a 18-time national championship winning program when it comes to the men's and women's basketball. Actually, 17 time, I should say. Maybe I'm getting ahead of myself because UConn's going for a historic three-peat coming up this season on the men's side. And the women are likely going to be the favorite for the national championship. So we could potentially do a double dip for the UConn men and women for a unprecedented 3rd time in history. No one's even done it once. UConn's done it twice, now going for a 3rd time. So definitely check us out. Daily shows, obviously, just as you do. And I'm also undefeated as a podcaster for Locked On UConn. We started the show towards the end of the season, and I haven't had to reside over a UConn loss on the men's side.
Nice.
So
keep it up.
So there's something there too. So we'll see how long that lasts as well.
Oh, and then also too, you might be walking in San Antonio. Maybe 2024 Final Four.
I will be there. I will be there at the Final Four this year. So you and I will have to get up and maybe get the Le Chateau coffee or whatever.
Bingo, you read my mind. Yes,
and you could show me some good eateries in San Antonio. I have never been, so you have to show me the ropes.
Absolutely. Once again, he is Mark Zanetto. Again, Locked On UConn. Go follow that X handle. You see it on your screen. Go do it right now. But for Mark Zanetto, I am Jeff Garcia. We're going to put a lock in this episode of Locked On Spurs.